You ever walk out of a store, look at your bags, and just wonder, why did I just buy that? It feels like it was 100% your choice, right? But what if I told you there's a whole science, a kind of hidden playbook that's pulling the strings? Well, today we're diving deep into the psychology behind every single purchase you make. I mean, think about it. Is it really just about the quality of the shoe or the specs of the phone? Or is there something else, something deeper going on? These choices feel so personal, but they're often influenced by a set of rules that brands have spent billions of dollars to figure out and perfect. To see this in action, let's look at this incredible underdog story. In India, a company called Patanjali, which is all about ancient natural traditions, decided to go head-to-head with some of the biggest global giants out there. We're talking Nestle, Unilever, you name it. On paper, this should have been a complete disaster for them. But it wasn't. Not even close. In just a few years, their revenue exploded past $1 billion. Now, that wasn't just luck. It was an absolute masterclass in understanding what makes the modern consumer tick. So what was their secret weapon? They didn't really invent a groundbreaking new product. They just understood the psychology of buying better than almost anyone else. And that's the exact model we're going to break down today, step by step. So you can see how these forces shape every single purchase that... So here's the plan. We're going to start with the big picture, looking at the world around us. Then we'll zoom right into the personal factors that make you, you. From there, we'll dive deep inside the mind to uncover the hidden psychological triggers. And to wrap it all up, we'll map out the actual journey of a purchase, from that first little thought to the final click. All right, first up, the world's influence. These are the huge and often totally invisible forces of culture and society that pretty much set the stage for everything you buy. And the biggest one is culture. You can think of it like the basic operating system we're all running on. It's the values, the perceptions, the beliefs we absorb from our family and society without even realizing it. It shapes everything, from the food we crave to the cars we think are cool. And this is where it gets really interesting. In individualistic societies like the US or Australia, shopping is often about self-expression, right? It's about personal style, following the latest trends. But if you go to more collectivistic cultures like Portugal or Mexico, the whole game changes. The focus shifts to family needs, buying for the group, and trusting brands with a long, solid reputation. The products might be the same, but the reasons for buying are worlds apart. Okay, now let's zoom in a little closer to your social circles. Of course, we're influenced by our family and friends. That's a no-brainer. But what's fascinating are the groups we don't belong to. We buy certain things to be like the people we admire, our aspirational groups. And just as powerfully, we actively avoid brands that are associated with groups we want nothing to do with. You know, think about why a teenager would rather die than wear the same brand as their dad. That right there is a dissociative group in action. So we've got culture and society. But layered right on top of that are all the things that make you unique. This is where it gets really personal. You know, marketers look at absolutely everything. Your age, what you do for a living, your income, even your personality. Each of these little details helps build a picture of what you probably need or want. Just think, a recent college grad is probably buying IKEA furniture and cheap plane tickets. A new parent, maybe the same age, is focused on car seats and diapers. Same age, different life stage, completely different shopping cart. And this all comes back to a really crucial idea called self-concept. See, we're rarely just buying a product. We're buying a piece of an identity. We choose brands that help us broadcast who we are, or maybe who we want to be, or even how we want other people to see us. Your car, your clothes, your phone, they're all little signals you're sending out to the world. A perfect example of this in action is the story of Hamburger Helper. Now, you'd think in our crazy busy world, everyone would want the absolute fastest meal possible. But researchers found a huge group of people who, yeah, they were short on time, but they still wanted the satisfaction of feeling like they cooked. They wanted convenience, but they also wanted to be involved. And that little insight into their lifestyle pretty much saved the entire brand. All right, now we're getting to the core of it all. We're going inside your mind. This is where we explore the hidden psychological processes that are the real engine driving all of your decisions. You've probably seen this pyramid before. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The idea is actually super simple. We are driven to solve our most basic, urgent problems first. You don't really care about a luxury watch, which is all about esteem, if you're worried about affording groceries, which is physiological. And brands get this. A soup company sells warmth and comfort. A security company sells safety. A social media app sells a sense of belonging. They're all just targeting a different level of our fundamental needs. Then there's this wild mental bias we all have called selective distortion. Basically, it's our brain's tendency to twist and interpret information so that it fits with what we already believe. This means our expectations can literally change what we see, what we hear, and even what we taste. And for a mind-blowing example of this, look no further than Coors beer. A while back, they changed the label on their cans, and people swore the taste of the beer was different. They were convinced it had changed. The recipe? It was 100% identical. The words on the can were enough to actually change the flavor. That's the power of branding working directly on your brain. So finally, how do these brands manage to stick with us? Well, think of your long-term memory like a giant, complicated spider web. A brand, let's say Apple or Nike, is just one single point, one node in that web. The entire goal of marketing is to connect that node to as many positive things as possible, to feelings, to images, to cool experiences, so that when you think of that brand, all those good associations just light up in your mind. So, with all these different influences, cultural, social, personal, psychological, swirling around, how do we actually make a decision? Well, that brings us to our final section, the buyer's journey. This is the classic 5-stage model that pretty much maps out every purchase we consider. It all starts with problem recognition, that, uh-oh, I need something moment. Then you start looking for information. Next, you weigh your options. Then you finally make the purchase. But, and this is so important, it doesn't end there. That last stage, how you feel after you buy, is what determines if you'll ever come back for more. Let's make this real. Imagine you need a new laptop. You start comparing, and you're looking at a table like this. It's kind of confusing, right? Laptop C has the best memory, but laptop A has the best graphics, and then laptop D is the lightest. There's no single perfect choice. So how on earth do you decide? Well, whether you realize it or not, your brain runs a quick little calculation. It's what's known as the expectancy value model. You subconsciously assign a weight or importance to what matters most to you. So let's say memory is 40% of your decision and graphics are 30%. You do the math and boom, laptop A suddenly comes out on top with a score of 8.0. It wasn't the absolute best in every single category, but for you, it offered the best overall package. But the journey isn't over at the checkout. Honestly, the most crucial part happens next. Your satisfaction all comes down to a super simple equation. How well did the product's performance meet your expectations? If it exceeds them, you become a loyal fan. But if it falls short, you're not just disappointed. You're probably never buying from that brand again. So there you have it. From the culture you grew up in, to the deep wiring of your own mind, from your friends' opinions to your own self-concept, that's the hidden playbook that's shaping every single purchase you make. The only question left is, now that you know the rules of the game, will you ever look at your shopping cart the same way again?